Live from Woburn, Massachusetts, this is Horribly Off Topic with Chris and Steve. This week we have episode 72. That was more Vincent Price at the end.
I was like,
If you're calling about the missing feet, please talk to my nephew.
I was like, are we getting the whole thriller rap? There, Vincent Price, he did the thriller.
I know.
Rap.
Well, it wasn't really a rap,
But that's what it's credited as in the thing. I had that joke with the students once. I was like, so that part of that song is called a rap, and then they were like, what?
Well, rapping is just like poetry, right?
Oh yeah, and poetry is life. It's deep, right?
Just like your butthole.
I mean, it could be deeper. I think if it were deeper, I wouldn't. I don't know. Would it hurt more or less when I pooped if my butthole is deeper?
Does it hurt when you poop?
I mean, sometimes.
Is this because you eat a lot of cheese or something, or
I don't know. Doesn't it hurt when anybody poops? Isn't it kind of an uncomfortable experience?
I'm pretty regular, so I'm pooping every day.
Yeah.
So it usually doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Unless like I've eaten like a substantial amount of food and a substantial amount of food that's just binding.
Yeah. So most of the time it's kind of a soft, moist thing.
Yeah, soft, moist doo-doo.
Yeah.
That one. This is the beginning just for Rob.
Soft, moist doo-doo coming out of my very deep butthole. Deep. Oh, poetry.
Yes, you did.
Poetry is
Let's start off with the very interesting stuff.
It's just the idea of Vincent Price as a rapper is amusing to me. Although I think just about anybody can be turned into a rapper these days. There's the slow jam, the new not a rapper. Anybody can be turned into an R&B artist with the slow jam the news, or with
auto tuning. Is that what you're getting at?
That's what I'm getting at.
Well, these kids today, they use the auto tune. Mm-hmm. Back in my day, when we recorded the New Sweethearts album, Hot Pants, back in 1996. Actually, I think we recorded both of them in 1996. We didn't use any of this special crap where we Actually, no, we did fuck around with our voices a lot. Never mind.
But you didn't auto-tune it.
No, because I don't think that existed at the point.
Well, it probably existed in some form, but it was probably something that required a lot more computer horsepower than you had on
horsepower. We needed a generator.
Yeah.
To run a computer.
To run a computer.
To be able to auto-tune our shitty songs.
Maybe, and if you had auto-tuned them, would they have been more well-received or less well-received?
I don't know, because the people that have listened to them, they think it's fun and cheeky and whatever.
Right.
And they enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because it's, I think, a time and place kind of thing.
Right. That's the original stuff, or are these
the original stuff and the second album too? I think there's people that legitimately enjoy it out there.
Yeah,
I mean the same, but the same could be said about I occasionally. I don't actually have it on my iTunes just because I don't want anybody to stumble upon it on my phone ever if they're looking. But I've said this before. I have the guilty pleasure of listening to a little Insane Clown Posse. Because it was a time and a place in my life where I was just like, I like these guys.
Yeah.
And that wore off very quickly, but every once in a while I'm like, I want to listen to the Great Malenko.
ICP. They I don't want to give it away. I don't want to bury the lead here. They wrestled a lot.
Oh, they did.
Didn't they? At some point, didn't they wrestle?
They did. They did the wrestling show, and then they took an old video of Japanese wrestling, and then they pretended to be the announcers and sort of dubbed it, and then called it
Howard Finkel. He was an announcer. Howard Finkel. He was a WWF announcer, and in his voice was always the one that his voice as an announcer more so than the boxing guy that everyone kind of emulated, or that boxing guy. I think they had him on a couple of rap or R&B or dance tracks at some point. But Howard Finkel.
Why are you listening to all these rap R&B and I've never known you to ever listen to any of that. Your children?
That guy? No, I mean,
children are really into rap and R&B.
They're not into rap. They're probably into something.
What's their favorite hip hop song?
Well, I think it might be "Fuck the Police." I think Kaylee's getting into that one. That right now.
NWA?
Yeah.
Did you guys go to see the movie together?
No.
How old is she now? 10?
She's 9.
Is she almost 10?
She'll be 10 in the spring. Yeah.
Okay, so she's almost 10.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's a perfect time to go see an R-rated movie with your daughter.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. What better time?
Yeah.
What better time?
I mean, it's not NC-17, so you can bring her.
Absolutely.
If you want to be a bad parent.
If I want to be a bad parent, you're suggesting I'm not already.
Yeah, I don't want to toot your own horn or anything, Chris. But
Please don't toot my horn.
I don't think you're a bad parent.
Okay, thank you.
I don't want to. I don't want to get you a nice big old head, and don't make another sexual analogy.
You're the one you're making them for me.
I'm not making anything.
Steve's always the one who's nervous about me making the sexual jokes about him and I. But you're right here talking about tooting my horn and giving me a big head.
Yeah, neither of those things I'm going to do. Right. So last night you saw Howard Finkel.
No, I did not see Howard Finkel.
I don't know if I did.
I probably not. I think Howard Finkel, if he's not retired, still works for Vincent J. McMahon Jr.
The head of the WWE Wrestling Entertainment Corporation.
Yes, that's what they're. I believe that is how they do business these days.
Yes. The Woburn Elks.
The Woburn Elks.
It's not too far away from where we're recording today.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a little bit of
like a sign.
Sign, yes, it was a sign. I don't know why I was searching for that word. But yes, they had a sign out in the front, and I was like, ooh. Wrestling show on the 11th.
Oh.
I kind of want to go to that. And I'm like, how about you, hon? She's like, yeah, that might be fun.
Yeah.
And I was just
did she respond like that? Yeah, that might be fun in that way that like somebody responds where they're like, sure,
I think
I like hanging out with you, so I'll.
I think she went along with it just for the experience, just because she's never been to see a wrestling show before. And
so she wasn't told. She was intrigued. She wasn't totally just saying it.
I don't think she will ever want to go again. On the other hand, I think had a little bit more fun, and so I may want to go again. So I might need some folks out there if you're in the New England area. There's going to be another one in January. That I'm going to want to have some friends maybe go along with. Mm-hmm. So she was interested enough. She had a good enough time to say, "Hey, this wasn't a terrible evening." Right. But I don't think I will return and roll those bones again.
So no Howard Finkel. I assume because no Howard Finkel, no WWE. This is not.
No, this was called.
You didn't see the Honky Tonk Man.
The company that I guess it's based out of North Andover is Chaotic Wrestling.
Chaotic.
CW. Not like that. I don't know. Does that network?
That network I think still exists, and I think in order to be a legitimate wrestling organization, you need an A or an F or an F and A or something like you need, or an E if you're Vince McMahon. I guess you can get away with just being World Wrestling Entertainment, but you think you need a third.
Well, the reason why they changed it to World Wrestling Entertainment was because of the World Wildlife Fund. Yeah,
fucking pandas
because
ruined
of goddamn animals.
No, I'm saying for these people, for CW, like, don't they need like the Chaotic Wrestling Federation or the Chaotic Wrestling something? I mean, even like once Vince McMahon and the WWEF took over all of the other places, there was an offshoot, a semi-popular offshoot. I don't know if they're still around. That was called TNA. That was Total Nonstop Action, I think. Maybe they're still around. And you can send us an email to hot@clarkwoods.com to tell me how I'm wrong. But, like, even they had 3 letters.
Oh, good. They're vacuuming in the hall.
Great. But so these guys are just CW.
Yes, just
now
CW.
I know why Becky didn't like them. There's no authenticity there. They're not even trying hard.
Okay, well, the thing is, like, The last time I think I went to a wrestling show, and did you ever go to see one live?
I saw one live at either the McCarthy or Chelmsford High Gymnasium.
Okay, so it wasn't like a WWF event. Okay, see, I saw one at the Boston Garden back in like 2000, or no, not 2000, 1988, 89, something like that.
Yeah, didn't you see? Was it not Vader? The tall black dude who was in
Virgil?
No, the tall black dude who was in No Holds Barred with Hulk Hogan.
I forget what the name of that guy is.
I think the actor's name might be Tiny Lister.
Yes.
Zeus
was his character in that movie. There we go.
Was he on the card when you saw them back
I don't know. I remember very little of it. Yeah. But I can't really say, oh, I remember this being so cool and real. All I can remember is, like, I don't know where our seats were, and I think I got a Rockers poster when I was there.
Old Marty Jannetty.
And
Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, yeah. The Rockers.
Though they were my peeps, man. I think I was torn. I was on the one hand you had Axe and Smash from Demolition, and on the other hand you had Shawn and Marty from the Rockers, and I couldn't decide between the two of them. I was.
So did you have a poster of each of them to masturbate to?
I did. right on to Axe's face,
man.
Actually, you can't be sure because they both had the masks on. I think on the poster, so it was like, I could imagine is it Axe that's recipient of my gift, or is it Smash, and then go from there.
So I got the website up, like for the major cards on here, but the minor ones, they didn't list here. So the folks at Chaotic Wrestling, maybe you list all the matches in there so we can give you as much freaking plugs as possible for free, assholes.
So they don't have the undercard.
They didn't. Well, no, they have like several matches listed here, but they don't have like one or two of them.
Is it possible that it operates on a sort of
hey, who showed up?
Is it like an open mic night for wrestling where like they have
it kind of seemed
matches, and then they have like random dudes show up and they're like, hey, can I get a match tonight? And they're like, sure. Those guys aren't on the card.
It kind of seemed that way because like the matches that aren't listed here. That was really good. Oh, it was gross, though. It was sausage. Oh, my God.
Got to isolate that one and turn into a sound clip.
Yeah, you'll have a soundboard in case I'm not around sometime. Just talking to yourself, and occasionally you just push a burp button, and I'm like, I agree, Chris.
Or, Chris, you're an idiot. Or, stop trying to be funny.
Just say words. But the first match was...
I gotta try that. I gotta have a soundboard, and we'll see if we can do an episode. Well, I don't want you to not be here, but maybe it'll be a segment of...
I got 6 cocks in my ass, and I'm looking for a 7th. It was an old bit on Ron and Fez where like Fezzy had like a heart attack or something like that, and then he went and got a stent or whatever, so he was out for a little bit. So they were using a soundboard Fez when he wasn't in, and then when he got back, he would use the soundboard even when Fez was back, and he'd be like, and one of the things he says on the soundboard is like, "This is not a soundboard," and so and Fez would actually be saying that, and then. It was funny.
Oh, all right. Sorry, I keep distracted. I keep getting us horribly off topic. That was bad.
I really no. You should have to drink a whole beer for that.
Well, I'm gonna drink.
Not
this
you.
Whole,
I'm saying the people out in the audience.
Out there should when Chris like does a horrible makes a horrible noise.
Well, you did make a noise, but I don't think it was that horrible. All right. So the first match that we saw was a tag team match between the Logan brothers. Matt and Brian, and they were the heels. They were
the heels. Now explain that to people who might be out there in listener land who are not familiar with wrestling terminology.
The heel is is the bad guy, or the bad guys in this instance, because they were a tag team.
Right.
And they were brothers, and they kind of both look like Captain America there.
Oh, Chris Evans.
Yeah, a little bit like Chris Evans.
Now,
But
it's
I'm not
possible,
saying...
I mean, if they're from the area,
Yeah, maybe they're related.
maybe they are.
They're the less successful... But like they're the Logan brothers, so they're obviously not the Evans brothers.
That's because Chris came, he called back to his brothers and he's like, "Hey guys, you can't trade on the family name."
Yeah, so just be Logan or something. It sounds like Hogan, people like that in wrestling, right?
Right, yeah.
Logan brothers, Matt and Brian, and it's Brian with a Y, not Brian with an I.
Important distinction there. Brian's with Y's are more or less fierce.
I would say less fierce.
Less fierce.
Just because our often listener Brian, what are they doing out in the hall?
I don't know.
Our often listener Brian is a Brian with an I.
Brian with an I. Okay.
So yeah, and then they were up against Mark Webb and Travis Air Gordon.
Air Gordon.
Travis
Air Gordon. Now, Air Gordon was he
was toting himself as like the master of like flips or something like that.
Is this a Caucasian fellow or an African American fellow?
He looked kind of I don't remember.
You don't know? Okay.
I didn't see Travis Air Gordon too much
to know whether or not this is a Caucasian fellow who was trading on the trademark of a well-known African American athlete, because then I have to get what
I can't tell you because he was I think he was tan, so I don't know.
There you go. Okay.
But the thing is, all right. So Mike Webb. Sorry, did I say Mark Webb?
I don't know.
Whatever. Mike Webb was his tag team partner. Like they
is he Spider-Man?
He kind of but he had a little bit of a little shaggy nonsense going on. But like he gets in the ring, and then like the Logan brothers, they immediately like throw Air Gordon out of the ring, and he like hurts himself, and then he's out of the match. And instead of like calling
so it's like
it there,
2-on-1.
So basically, yeah, so
it's a menage a trois.
And like the ref was, I don't know, his actions were suspect. He was like. Like, because at the beginning of the match, it was just the two of them beating on him. Like, and he wasn't
looking to this guy.
He wasn't doing anything to stop it. He was just like, "Hey, one of you guys has to get out of." He wasn't even saying that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Shouldn't you at least be trying?
You should be at least trying to get one of them out of the ring, so this can be a somewhat fair fight, even though it's not real. Yeah. But the bumps they're taking are real. Like when I say it isn't real, don't all you wrestling folks out there get all fucking angry at me.
Were they saving that? Were they saving that moment for later in the match, where like the referee does the try to get in the middle thing, and then the referee gets knocked out?
The referee did not get knocked out. Okay, sorry.
I was just thinking maybe that's what...
There was a couple of in a later match, there was one of the ones that's not listed here. Mm-hmm. There was the manager that was distracting the referee. So
female or male manager?
It was a male manager.
Male manager, okay.
And he was a real asshole, and he was getting...
Bobby Heenan.
He was like a Bobby Heenan, and there was this old man sitting in the front row, and he had a cane, and he was busting on this old man. I swear to God, if he came next to that old man again, he was gonna clock him. Like for realsies.
Now the old man wasn't a plant, right? So
I don't know. He might have been a plant.
All right. Well, if he was a plant and he didn't hit him with the cane, then that's a missed opportunity.
I don't want to say. I don't think he was going to hit him with the cane. I think he was going to do a closed hand fist to that guy's face.
Was the old man like anything that spoke like ex-military?
He looked like he might have been a veteran. I don't know if I didn't see his hat, but it might have been one of those hats that says, "I am a veteran of a foreign war, and this is all the places that I was." They have those hats that just have like every single word you could possibly be like for veteran on the hat is on the hat.
Yeah. All right.
But he was. I was looking at him because I was behind him, so I didn't see his hat from the front.
Oh, okay, got it.
So so it's a possibility. So he could have
should have had him knock that guy out.
I would have been so happy. And I'm like, that's realism,
like Captain America knocking out Hitler.
But yes, because that really happened.
That really happened
in the comic book.
There was a thing going around this week about Kamala Khan, who's the Muslim American Ms. Marvel at the moment. Somebody was like, there should be Kamala Khan knocking out Donald Trump as an homage to the Captain America cover, and then some fan went and drew it and did an awesome job. I'll link it in the show notes. But that old man hitting the wrestler, that would have been even better.
I think the problem I mean, I don't
Then I would have been
I don't want to get all.
sad that
I don't want to get all
missed
serious for a second, but I think the reason why most, I want to say Christian Americans or whatever.
Don't you mean just Americans?
Well, most American, because not all Americans are Christian, but most Christian Americans are
real Americans are Christian, Steve.
Are basically, well, not all of them, but like there is a little bit of Islamophobia in there.
Just a little bit.
Well, some have a lot.
Yeah.
Like educated folks like ourselves, we have a little bit less, but there is I like, because like I see the shit that happened. We didn't even talk about it at all last week. No. I see the shit that happened, like, and it's like, okay, like these extremists, and we had this conversation.
Yeah, we've had it
like before, and we can't blame it all on religion, but a lot of times it's like it's crazy radicals,
radicals of every religion.
Yeah. And
whether it's Islam or Christianity.
But the way it happens a lot in the States, or when it's ISIS or whatever, or ISIS related, it has stuff to do with Islam, even though I imagine most Muslims don't want it to do with Islam at all, because it paints them in a bad light, even though they're probably really good people.
Yeah.
So,
not to get serious for.
Sorry, I got horribly off serious.
Horribly off serious. Yeah, no, sorry. The people knocking each other out. I would have been really sad if I had missed the old guy knocking.
I would have been so happy, but it did not happen. But okay, so it's a very long match of 1, 2, 2, just two. Oh, it was a lot of that. And they could not seem to pin poor old Mike Webb, but then eventually the Logan brothers won. But like the Travis Air Gordon comes back out in a sling. And I guess he broke his arm. I did air quotes there.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And then he took off the sling and comes back in to wrestle. Mm-hmm. But then they pin, I think, Mike, and then the match is over.
Yeah. Something. Did Air Gordon use the cast? Did he have a cast on? And then
no, it was just a sling.
All right.
Because he didn't have it when he first came out.
These guys need to hire me. This is what I'm saying. Like, I could take this operation to the next level. Because look what I've already suggested to these folks. I mean, you definitely get the old guy in the front row to knock out one of these guys, one of these assholes. He's got to knock him out. That's got to happen. And you definitely, if somebody's broken his arm, he comes back out in the cast, man, and he uses that cast to bust open someone's head. And so, somebody's got the blood pack, and
like it's a breakaway cast or something like that.
Absolutely, the cast breaks.
The cast
off.
just like breaks immediately. It's like paper mache or something like that.
And maybe he winces for a moment, but then he has like the Hulk Hogan moment, and he just like shakes his head and like, no, adrenaline, and then
I was kind of bummed there wasn't a lot of elbows dropped.
Oh, the elbow, man, that's an underused thing.
And
is it because Macho Man did it so well?
I guess.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, like,
what about legs drop?
A lot of people, no, not really.
That's a Hogan thing.
That is a Hogan thing. So it's after our time, Chris. We are not relevant. Like, people are not marketing to us anymore.
Yeah.
Although they should be. I mean, we're the ones that allegedly have money.
Allegedly.
Yes. Allegedly. There's allegations of money being had.
Allegations of money.
So yeah, and what I noticed, whenever someone's on the top rope, whatever their plan is, it's not going to work.
Unless it's Randy Savage.
Well, Randy Savage was the king of the top rope.
Yes.
But the thing is, like every time someone went up on the top rope, it was just like, like if someone was like doing the flailing around on the ground, like, oh, I can't get up, everything's terrible, and they're like, oh, I better get on the top rope and jump on them really hard or whatever. But every time it was like, oh,
could do the top rope. There's a few professional wrestlers, like you're real professionals, not these
amateurs, professional amateurs. Yeah,
not these guys, not these chuckle.
All right, so yeah, that was the first match, and then the second match was something. It was like some. He was a little dude.
A little dude. Like, are we talking?
I'd say he was shorter than me.
Okay. Not as short as Vern Troyer.
No, okay. He was not a little person.
Okay.
Right. But he was, I'd say, like in between 5 feet and 5'6".
Oh, okay. So
Somewhere in that range.
a shorter fellow.
He was not like what you would consider a typical wrestler.
Okay.
And then the match that they had was like deciding the other guy's fate in chaotic wrestling, which in other words was probably like he probably is moving.
Got it. Yeah.
And so they decided to have this match.
That guy's heading down south.
Yeah.
Make a name for himself.
Trying to go to Connecticut to try to work with a Mr. McMahon or something.
Yeah.
So that's probably what was happening, and they had just had this match, and I forget who the names of the two guys were, but but that's basically. But that was the one that seemed less scripted because it was a lot of like stuff not happening.
Okay.
Like at the beginning, there were like the little dude that wasn't the guy that was going to get kicked out.
Right. Yeah.
Was like, I don't want to fight you, man. I don't want to kick you out of this wrestling.
Was he on the mic, or was this just like
this was just like
no?
He was just saying. Well, it was at a
small.
It was at an Elks hall. Everybody could hear everything they were saying.
Got it.
So yeah, like it was a lot of that to start, and and I'm like, come on, just freaking wrestle.
Just beat each other up.
Just pretend beat each other up, and then jump off a rope, and then like jump around.
I'm not asking for much when I go to a wrestling.
Run around the old ring and bounce off the ropes and do all that things, stuff like that. And then, so that was pretty uneventful. And the guy did lose, so
yeah, so he's out.
He's out of chaotic wrestling, and he's probably
on to bigger and brighter things.
Either that, or he got a regular Joe job.
Maybe that might actually pay him. Not that we know anything about chaotic wrestling and whether or not they pay their people. Well,
if they pay as well as the WWE, then these guys are fucked.
You ever see The Wrestler, the Mickey Rourke movie?
Yes.
Yeah. Like, that guy didn't get paid very well.
Well, the thing is, like, I imagine the guys nowadays, they might get paid a little bit better and have a little bit more rights, maybe.
Yeah.
But unless you're, like, a superstar, you're not, or what they refer to as a jobber, somebody that's just going in and basically losing.
Yep.
That's losing to the main guy or whatever.
That was the Brooklyn Brawler. That guy was a jobber.
Yeah,
right?
he just went in there and he lost to almost everybody.
And then, but he was obviously
he was like the Washington Generals,
right? He was obviously a faithful employee because he was around for years. And then even after he stopped wrestling, I think he was still in the background. I don't know if he was like a manager or a
confidant to Mr. McMahon,
something like that. Yeah. The Brooklyn Brawler.
If you guys are not into wrestling this week, you're going to be like, "Oh my god, damn it!" You're going to be like,
lost. We definitely talked about it before. When I was doing play-by-mail wrestling.
Yes, you did talk about this before.
My character's name was the Hampton Beach Horror. He would have been a jobber.
Okay.
And in fact, he was a jobber. He lost a lot, that character. Eventually, I created a character or two who won a lot and became their champions. But
you know what's hilarious? All right, so right before we left to go to the wrestling show last night, we were just kind of looking at videos on YouTube, and we found one of Bill Burr touring Hampton Beach because he was playing at the casino ballroom or whatever.
Yeah,
he's just walking around Hampton Beach, and he's from the general Boston area, so he's spent time up there, in his youth, and so he was just looking around and he was just making fun of all the people at Hampton Beach and basically when we got there, I'm like, this is just like Hampton Beach. It was an interesting crowd, is what I'm saying.
I can imagine.
There was there was people that looked more like hipsters than me there, so I imagine they might have been there ironically. But then they also had like poster boards, so they're like, are they really trying to ham up the irony? Like, we are so into this ironically, then we might actually like this kind of irony.
All the way back around
to actually enjoying it.
Interesting.
I went there with the sense of irony, but I ended up liking it.
Right. Becky,
I'm busting.
She likes you.
And
she's like, all right, I'll go hang out with him. And
I'm busting on but
she didn't like it. That was.
It was. I liked the crappiness of it.
Yeah, you like
it was bad. but the thing is, I want a basis of comparison. Do they still do wrestling matches at the Garden?
I imagine that they do.
Because I'd like to go to one just to see like what is like the pro stuff look like in real life.
Because like a few years ago, there were, I think, 2, if not 3 weekly shows. For the longest time, what I remember when I because I came back for a brief period of time in the mid 2000s. My friend Marianne got me invested again. And there was a Thursday night show called SmackDown and a Monday night show called Raw.
I think Raw still exists.
Yeah, and I don't know if SmackDown still exists. And then for a little while, there was something else that was on I don't know if it was a weekend night or whatever. It was on cable. So I think when they go around and they do those sorts of things, that they still visit the Garden, they still visit wherever they're at, and then the Garden is one of those places that they cycle around for their pay-per-view events, which they still do not one a month, but they do one every couple of months,
like SummerSlam and WrestleMania.
They got SummerSlam and WrestleMania. They used to at least 2 or 3 other ones. They had SummerSlam, WrestleMania, Royal Rumble. Those were the ones for the longest time when we were kids. SummerSlam and Royal Rumble came a little bit later. WrestleMania was the one for a while. But I think they still do stuff at the Garden. I mean, I think... I imagine they overcharge for it in the same way that concerts overcharge for things. And that's why I would probably never go. Because, I would go possibly for the irony and possibly for the nostalgia trip. But I'm poor. So it would have to be a very special circumstance for me to, go... Or I'd be in the nosebleed seats. And that's the thing is, it's the reason I've never gone to a Celtics game, even though I like basketball. And
you like basketball?
I do like basketball.
That's weird.
And I've only ever gone to, in my adult life, to Red Sox games when a friend has been in charge of the tickets and paid for them. And I've never been to a Patriots game. And part of that is because if I was going to go, I would want to have the best possible experience. And, for wrestling... How well do I do it, right? I covered pretty well that time, right?
For those of you keeping score, I just went and got a beer.
I mean, I thought I covered pretty well that time.
You did. I've never been to a Pats game either, but...
my dad couldn't believe that. He asked me that the other day. He said, "You ever been to a Pats game?" I said, "No, I've never even... I mean, I've driven by the stadium."
The only time I've ever been in it was to see a Revs game, which is the soccer team we have there.
Yeah, no, I just wouldn't want to sit in the nosebleed seats of any of them.
We had good tickets for the Revs game.
Yeah.
But the beers were obscene.
I can only imagine.
I used to complain about Fenway Park beer prices, but then I went to Gillette Stadium and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And that was 2 years ago.
It's and I've been to Disney World, right? The prices there are obscene to a point.
Actually, I think it was 3 years ago. Never mind.
But all of these places, and I get it. They that's where they're making a lot of their money is on markup on food and drink. But it does get to a point of absurdity, which is why, Disney and they have meal plans now, and they have the little wristbands that you put around. You completely forget. I went a couple last summer, not summer 2015, summer 2014. But we had these little wristbands, and we had a meal plan. I didn't think about what anything cost because we paid for it in advance. And I don't know that you could do the same thing at a sporting event, but I almost feel like that would be
if they could be like, "Oh, this will get you unlimited beers."
Right.
For X amount of money.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea how fucking hammered I would be?
Well,
I'd be like, well, I have to drink at least X many
it wasn't
to make this worthwhile.
It wasn't unlimited, but it was a certain, we bought a certain amount of meals that would last us for the week that we were there, a certain amount of meals, certain amount of snacks. And so it wouldn't be an unlimited amount of beers, but it would be, this is, I'm paying this much in advance to get me hammered. I know that's enough. And then you don't think about the individual prices once you're...
is it discounted at all if you do that?
See, I don't, in terms of in an ideal world, yeah, I think it would be. In terms of the Disney thing, I think it felt like it was, but I think there are people out there who have done studies to find out, how much it would actually cost you. And I don't know. I would rather not be thinking about it if I'm going to that sort of thing. And that's why I don't go, because I don't have that kind of money where I could just order as many beers as I wanted and not think about it.
The problem that I had with last night was I did not pregame. I did not have anything to drink beforehand.
Right.
So I think I had 3 beers and I had a mixed drink while I was there, and I didn't get hammered at all.
Right.
And so it was just like, I think I probably would have had a slightly better time if it was a little bit more, a little bit more lubricated when I arrived.
Inebriated.
I mean, it's not that, an Elks Club has like high prices for beers or anything. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Gillette Stadium. I could have gotten 3 beers at the Elks for
the cost of one.
Yeah, for the cost of 1 at friggin' Gillette.
Yeah, I guess to a certain extent I get what they're doing. They can get away with it, and they're probably not making as much on the.
Here's the trick. But the thing is, we allow them to get away with it. Mm-hmm. It's just like.
We allow them to get. I mean, how are we allowing them to get away with it?
By going to the games,
right?
By going to the amusement parks,
okay,
and saying we are okay paying hundreds of dollars for a ticket, and then also being rammed up the ass for beer and food prices. I'm like, that's why I'll go to a place like Canopy Lake and be okay with it. Because, they'll charge me $30-something for a ticket, and then I'll go on roller coasters and do all the fucking things that I would do at like Disney or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'll have like some beers or have some whatever.
Right.
And I'll have a really good time, and it'll be like the one day, and it'll be fine. And I'm probably spending $100, but that's for the whole day.
Yeah. Well, there's what? How do you feel about this bit of wisdom that's come out? And you might have more to talk about with the wrestling thing. So reel me in, and we can get back to that. There's the bit of wisdom that's come out. I don't know. It seems recently that it's better to pay for experiences than it is to pay for things. So rather than spending hundreds of dollars on a new computer every year or new phones or whatever, that you'd be better off paying to go to a football game if that's your thing, or going to Disney World or whatever. That it's better to you're not going to get to take any of this stuff with you, but you will get to enjoy the experiences for your whole life. So. What do you think about that? Is that part of what's playing in here? Is that they know that experiences are people that we're kind of as a culture coming around to experiences being more valuable, and they just go, well, we can charge them through the nose for it.
Well, the thing is, experiences are more valuable because it's stuff that you actually remember. I don't remember. I remember. I mean, the thing is, with video games and stuff like that. I mean, you get it and you also use it
right
a lot, and you play it a lot. And a lot of my interactions with my friends in my youth were around playing a video game and stuff like that. So that's where a lot of memories are built. And so I have a lot of nostalgia for especially old Nintendo games and Super Nintendo games. But
are they capitalized? Maybe you answer this later, but are they capitalizing, the video game companies, on the nostalgia?
Yes, Nintendo at least. I mean, they have most of their old library up on their virtual console, and
new games too. Are they able to charge what they're? I don't even know what they charge for new games on a modern console anymore.
It's $60 basically, but then there's downloadable content usually, and that's usually sometimes can be another 10 or 20 or whatever.
Are they only able to get away with charging $60 because everybody has that nostalgia factor? Because it would take a lot for me to pay $60 or $70 for a video game.
Here's the trick, like back in our days, that's how much they cost.
Yeah,
they cost about $40 or $50.
Yeah,
the amount of inflation as far as video game goes has been relatively small.
Okay, yeah. I think because I don't have the same, and it's funny. It's again that just couple year age gap. I feel like I don't have the same connect. Part is that, and part that I suck at video games. But I don't have the same sentimental attachment to video games. So the idea of ever paying $50 to $60 is just nuts to me, because I never did. My brother would, and then those games would be around the house. But I don't think that I ever asked for, unless it was at Christmas time.
I really feel bad for your brother, because I think he actually spent full price for buying a 32X.
Wait, 32X is...
Okay, so Sega had their Genesis, Sega Genesis. Mm-hmm. And then they had the Sega CD, which was a peripheral that was attached to the Sega Genesis.
Yes, I remember him getting that.
I think he also bought the 32X, which is something you put on the top of the Genesis. So basically, it would be a 32-bit system. It was basically like, I think the angry video game nerd referred to it as like a life support system for the
to keep it around for longer,
for a little bit longer. But the 32X, like I think even a couple of months after its release, it was very quickly realized that it was not worth getting.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a couple of there was very few games that came out for it. Some of them, I think there was maybe one or two of them that were fantastic, but there was like nothing else worthwhile that ever came out for it. So people were like, this is garbage. And I think you could pick up a 32X at like Babbage's or Electronics Boutique at the time for like cents on the dollar.
Yeah. That's,
but I think your brother actually paid full price for it when it came out.
I do feel bad for that.
Yeah.
But I mean, what did I pay full price for? There's probably tons of. I mean,
But the thing is, like, back to the experiences thing. I mean, you can have experiences, but without spending a shit ton of money. You can go to a like I said, you can go to a Canopy Lake. You can go well back in our younger years. You can go to a Whalum Park.
Yeah, yeah.
That's going way back.
It's going way back.
I think that place closed in 2000.
A long time ago, yeah.
You can go to a Whalum Park and not go to a Six Flags or a Disney. Right. Or you can go, if you want to be on the upper echelon, but you don't want to, spend it like Disney money, you can go to like Ohio and go to Cedar Point, which has like crazy roller coasters.
But see, but here's and it all depends on what's your thing. Like if you're in it for the rides, then yeah, absolutely. I think, but for me, and this is why I will always go to Disney, and I will.
And you're wearing a Walt Disney World shirt.
I am. It was not intentionally, but I will always go for Disney above any of those places because I'm in it for the story, and Disney is better at story than anything else. Like
yeah, but you can watch a movie for like $10.
But I like the story that unfolds in the parks.
See, I've never been, so I don't know. So I guess I'm lacking that in my memory banks for an experience. So
yeah, right. And I wonder how much of it is again the nostalgia thing. So I went 3 times with my parents. Once when I was whatever. I went 3 times. Once in like 85 or so. When I was eight or so years old. Once in 1989.
So basically, you took your kids around the same time that your parents took you and John.
Yeah, and so like I went once when I was around my kid's age now. I went once when I was 11 or 12 or 13, and then once right after high school. And those are some of the most positive, like fun experiences of my childhood. In the same way that like video games are positive for you, right? So like I'll always go back to Disney because. And I'll pay their crazy ticket.
Yeah, your brother will the same. Like I mean, like he probably has the same nostalgia as you because like I remember when he and I went on that really, really, really long road trip down to Florida, like to hang out with Garen. Like he
took off for a little while.
He took off for the day to go to Orlando and go to Disney. Mm-hmm. And he was like, "Do you want to come?" I'm like, "No, not really."
Yeah.
So it's just me and Garen hanging out at the house all day.
And I mean, and it's not exclusively childhood. So Stephanie has good memories of it too, not because of childhood, but because we went on spring break of our senior year of college. And so she has that.
Was there tits galore?
There were not tits galore at Disney World.
There's so many tits.
I was gonna say there was at New Orleans Square, but New Orleans Square is a Disneyland thing, not a Disney World.
So you had to go to California to see tits.
Yeah, you would have had. Yeah, I think when I went and visited John in 2006, was it? 2005? 2006, I was out in San Francisco for a conference, and I flew down to see John in LA afterwards, and we went to Disneyland, and I think there were some tits at New Orleans. No, there weren't.
I would have been very happy if you said that was... all right, so I'm going to get back to wrestling for a second.
Yes, wrestling. I'm sorry, I
don't want to give...
horribly off topic.
I don't want to give these guys any sort of short shrift here. Because they entertained me severely. Like I was like, aside from it being bad, like I don't know, I really had a good time. And so like the heavyweight championship was that night, and it was Chase Del Monte. He was a can of vegetables. with really fast legs.
See, some of them people did not get my genuine reaction because I heard you say the Logan brothers before we started recording, but Chase Del Monte I had not heard.
Versus Warbeard Hansen.
Warbeard I had heard, but the fact that
I was rooting for Warbeard. He was just like a chubbier guy with a really long beard, and he had like a loincloth type thing with a skull on it. He was Warbeard. And he reminded me of Whitebeard from One Piece, and I was like, gutta. Oh, wait, what's Whitebeard's laugh? Fuck. Gutta. Brian, you're going to have to correct me.
What did he keep the loincloth on the entire time?
Yes, it did not come off.
Right,
but there was so many like little...
I didn't know if it was like a Roddy Piper thing where he like got the kilt on for like the beginning, but then the kilt comes off.
No, there was so many little peckers sticking out though.
Oh, ooh.
There was like one of the guys, he like came out, like when he came out and he was like running around and I didn't really notice, but then like he stopped.
Did you want to toot them?
Then he did like the standing on the top rope like at the beginning to like get the crowd into it.
Yeah.
There was a little fucking
little bit of pecker. Did you want to toot his horn?
No.
Or blow his head out of...
Stop it.
All right, so that was Warbeard or that was Del Monte?
I think it was Del Monte had a little bit of pecker action going. And I was like, dude, what?
Vegetables with pecker action. Can you see the can now?
He wasn't a can of vegetables. He was an actual human being.
Did he have
getting serious for a second.
Did he have green trunks?
No, they were actually red, I think.
Okay, I was gonna say Del Monte has the red in there, right? I think in the logo.
So they're fighting each other for a while, and it's not really. I didn't because
did anybody's peckers come out while they were fighting?
No.
Okay.
I think there was one point where someone balls almost came
Ooh.
out. I think it might have been one of the Logan brothers earlier. Becky noticed, I didn't, because she's looking at peckers. Checking to see if a ball slips out.
That's what she said.
Yeah, so she did. She's like, I want to see some balls. Make it worthwhile. I'm putting words in it, but she didn't actually say that. But then, so like they're fighting for a while. Like Chase Del Monte is the champion, so Warbeard's trying to get his championship belt. And then like approximately, it was going on for a while, and then the fire alarm goes off. And
like the total, like the amateur part of Pro-Am.
Yes.
The fire alarm
starts going off. And
never see that happen with Demolition Man.
Nobody is leaving. And I'm like, is this part of the act? Like everybody thought it was part of it. And they kept wrestling. And so we're just like, okay.
Well, they might not, I mean, they're in the heat of the moment. They might not hear
We might have been in the heat of the moment.
You know. Heat of the moment.
Oh my god, that's so good. So we're sitting there watching the wrestling, and then like people are like, "You guys need to leave. This is the real thing." We're like, "Oh, okay." And so everybody goes outside. We went over to a pizza joint nearby to use the restroom because we're like, all right. So and then we came back, and everybody had gone back inside because the fire department came or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, but when we were outside for a second, we saw Chase Del Monte go to his like car, like in his like. It was. I mean, it wasn't freezing out last night.
Right, yeah.
I mean, it was pretty.
It's unseasonably warm.
It's obscene. Yeah, it's pretty warm for December, like the middle of December here, and it was all right.
I only have a mixed drink to work with, not a.
But there's
PBR.
there's a fuzzy.
All right.
Fizzy.
So it wasn't bad.
Fuzzy fizziness.
Fuzzy fizziness.
And so he was in his outfit, his little. I don't know, like they're boy shorts, I think.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So his trunks.
His trunks, yes. He was in his trunks and basically just running over to his car, and he had an ice pack in a market basket bag. And I'm like, where's this guy going?
Where did he have his ice pack?
He was just holding it.
Was it on his balls?
It wasn't on his balls. His balls were still in there.
Okay.
So yeah, he runs by, and then we're like, what the fuck is happening? So we go back in, and they're like, well. We can't restart the match, so it's going to be a no contest. So, and everybody was like, boo!
Was that the main event?
No, that was not the main event.
Okay.
What the main event was Pandemonium, which was like a Royal Rumble type thing.
Oh, okay.
But we'll get to that later. So yeah, after we came back in, they sort of had the intermission.
Yeah.
And they played every song that was like that had anything to do with fire ever, which made me think that the fire alarm was
roof,
part of the
roof. The roof
no, they
is
didn't
on
play.
fire?
No, they played "Burning Down the House" and
okay.
some other shit, like and then they played "Hot Stuff,"
Yeah.
looking for some hot stuff, baby, this evening. Yeah,
Looking for some hot stuff, baby, tonight.
which made me think it was totally a work.
A work, yeah.
The fire alarm was
Which is wrestling
staged.
jargon. Yeah, okay, yeah.
The fire alarm was staged.
Right.
But like the thing is, when a fire alarm in a building like that is pulled, the fire department does have to come.
Right, yeah.
So
And it's probably a
so
criminal
this is
offense
this
to
is a
pull
tinfoil hat theory here. Was the fire department in on
the job?
Yeah, because they took for fucking ever to get there. Didn't they know that if that was going to happen?
I don't know, Steve.
I don't know either.
Your hat does look pretty good.
What hat? Oh, my tinfoil hat. I'm not wearing a tinfoil hat, everybody out there in the world. Okay, so during intermission,
Yeah.
they had one of the chaotic wrestling women's champion.
Ooh.
She was taking pictures with folks in the ring.
Ah.
So if you paid some cash, you could have gone up and gotten a
A picture with
the double X diva Alexis, and that's
double
Alexis
X.
with 2 X's.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say only 2 X's. The double X, not triple.
And she was like, in the next match after the intermission was her versus Davian,
Davian, okay.
who was very much playing up the heel factor.
Okay.
She was like taking money from some guy in the audience, and she put it in the ref's pocket. It was
interesting.
it was I don't know.
She didn't put it in her garter.
She didn't have a garder.
Oh, okay.
But the thing is, like,
we've already had a double X diva here.
But like the double X diva, like she had the boy shorts on as well.
Okay.
The trunks or whatever, but
Yeah.
they were very.
Well,
tight.
I was just using trunks as like the generic
For-
term for whatever.
She was wearing the little boy shorts, but then like it was straight up her ass crack.
Okay.
So you could see every possible curve except for vaginal folds.
Yes.
Vaginal
the
folds.
labia.
Yeah, you couldn't see her labia, but you could definitely see all parts of her ass.
Okay.
And she kept on like bending over and like showing her ass, like I do when I get out of the shower. I didn't see any taint really. I might have when there was a flip
What a
or two.
lovely word.
It was. I did say like at one point somebody was doing some sort of grab and flip, like it was one of the male wrestlers.
Yeah, yeah.
And I go, oh my god, he grabbed his taint.
Any reaction from anyone around
Becky
you?
laughed. Everybody's like, fucking hipster. Get out of here so we can enjoy our thing in peace.
So the Lady Wrestling Championship.
But that was pretty. I mean, there was like the thing is like with lady wrestling is like most of the time they have a considerable amount of hair, and a lot of the time they avoid doing the hair pulling stuff.
Right.
Just because it's
Yeah.
cheap. But occasionally they do it.
Right,
And
right.
so it's like, why don't you just do it all the time?
Yeah.
Because
And, or why isn't there a female wrestler with like a really short haircut? I'm trying to remember if Charlize Theron. Oh no, she's bald in the Mad Max movie. Like, why isn't there, especially with that movie as big as it was this year? Why isn't there like a Furiosa wrestler, like a female wrestler with like no hair, who's just like, fuck you, you can't
the thing
pull
is,
my
like,
hair.
I answered my own question basically. This is all a work,
Right.
and so occasionally they do it just because it's in the script.
Right. Yeah. No, but they can only pull. They can only pull the pulling the hair stunt so many times.
Yeah, and then then it gets boring, just like the 2 count, and then he
Yeah.
tapped out a million fucking times. Sorry, that happened a lot last night.
A lot.
A lot in almost every match. Okay, so and there was another match. I forget what the fuck the 2 guys, but there was like one of them was like Michael Jackson,
Okay.
but he kind of looked like
he had the glove going on.
no, he was doing a moonwalk on the side. I forget what his name was, but he kind of
Michael
looked
Jackson.
he looked a little bit like Jaleel White.
Captain EO.
You just step on my joke. Just step right on it.
Sorry, I didn't know that's what you were going for.
He looked like Jaleel White. For those of you in the know, that's Steve Urkel.
Okay.
Fuck you. Captain EO needed to get that out. Disney Parks. The guy touched kids, but that's okay. Allegedly.
Jaleel White, you mean? Touched kids.
No, Michael Jackson allegedly touched children.
Yes. Captain EO just touched Ewoks.
He did?
No, I don't know. He touched that movie. I think George Lucas or somebody from that group of people was involved in the making. Maybe Spielberg. I don't know. He touched Spielberg gently.
That's not.
I don't know what the fuck I'm talking.
Oh no! I remember now. It was called like a snipping match because like the guy that was like that looked like Jaleel.
Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Yeah, because he was, and I'm like,
Or
and I'm like,
snipping something else.
well, I go to Becky. I'm like, what is this, a bris?
That was the ladies' match or the match, like a different match.
This was different. This was the hair cutting match, but it didn't happen. No one got their hair cut, and it was just
shucks.
Oh, but everybody's excited because of it. Like that man's hair could have been cut. Oh, the guy that was like possibly could have got his hair cut was from Maine, but I remember
those Mainers don't like haircuts.
He was from Bangor, Maine. But I don't remember what it. But he was like. He had some sort of like Mr. Fantastic, Mr. Perfect, but not either of those, obviously, because one of them's a superhero and one of them is an actual wrestler.
Yeah, one of them can stretch things, and the other one,
Gamu Gamu no.
Okay.
And then
was Pandemonium.
Then it was the main event, which was Pandemonium.
Was everyone dressed in a panda costume?
No, there was one man that was Panda Man.
He was dressed in a panda costume.
No, he just had a panda face and he had hearts on his nipples. Actually, no. But
I didn't step on that one.
No, you didn't. Okay, so the people that were in the tag team championship, or wait, no, in the main event, Pandemonium. I'm reading this. That's why I'm like. It was featuring the CW Tag Team Champion, the Sure Thing, Mark Sherman, and I think he was the one that won. Spoilers.
But he's a tag team champion.
The Firebrand Brian Fury, which was he was wearing slacks and a belt.
Okay.
And I'm like, why is he wearing that? Because it's easier for people to flip him around, but if they just grab his belt.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the Kingpin, Brian Milonas.
Okay.
There's a lot of Greeks here, I guess.
Yep. Knights of Columbus. Right? Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was at the Knights. No, it was at the Elks.
Oh, okay.
So, and then the Kingpin, he was just like one of those really big guys. And then Brick Mass Stone. I don't remember that guy. But then there was King Ilya the Great Markopoulos.
Okay.
And I think he was like a crazy Greek guy. That sounds really Greek.
It does sound really Greek.
And there's some of his fans behind us. But I think the Shermanator. But then they let what was his? They let Warbeard into the.
Oh, because he won?
No, because he didn't get to win, and I guess that Chase Del Monte got hurt. And so they had one spot open. We were supposed to tweet about it to see who would blah, blah, blah. And it's all a fucking work. And so, like, he was the winner, and then that was the end.
What's the point of tweeting about it at that point? Is what are they going to get people into the match for like the Royal Rumble, like for the Battle Royal?
Wait, there was another match, too, because there was another match with the guy with the shitty manager that came out and was calling us all idiots, and we're like, boo, you're the worst, blah.
Yeah. I mean, tweeting for general awareness, I guess, towards the
They
end.
could tweet the fucking, or they could update their fucking website to say all the matches that happened so I could talk about them.
If they were asking you to tweet at the beginning of the match because they hadn't
not the beginning of the match, but the beginning of
the event.
Yeah.
Like, that would make sense to me because then they're trying to fill more
We could have
seats.
got that little guy in there.
Yeah.
The little guy that didn't want to fight his friend because he was like, I don't want you to leave, man.
Aw, it's like R2 and C-3PO.
What, because he was smoking?
Because there was a little guy and a tall guy.
He wasn't that little.
Oh, all right. All right. Don't be sensitive.
I just don't want any of the little people that listen to stop listening.
No, I don't want that.
I don't like offending people. That might be the episode title.
So anything else to say about the wrestling?
No, I think I'm all set. I mean, it was pretty fun. I mean, Becky, if you want to send us an email this week,
You can
to remind me of anything that I might have missed that you thought was. Oh, I kept on looking at what's her butt's ass.
Oh, okay.
During
and did Becky slap you for that?
No, she didn't. She kept on looking at it too because she couldn't not look at it.
Not look at it. Yeah, it's sort of right there in your face.
Well, it wasn't literally, but it was just like ass crack, and it was just like when they were doing the pictures, and so they were taking them the other way, so it was just ass.
She was like kind of doing like a bend over thing.
No, she wasn't. She was, but you could. But there was plenty of like
plenty of ass,
tight crack right there.
Plenty of tight crack. We're coming up with a lot of episode titles here. Well, that was a little obscene. All right, so I got news for you. Like we are at an hour 30 right now.
Are you kidding?
No. So
holy shit.
So we've got and the thing is, we were worried. I was worried. I was like, well, we have enough to talk about.
I told you we were going to talk about the wrestling thing most of the fucking time.
For most of the fucking time. I gotta say, back to the video game thing. The one I wish that there's only a couple of video games that I wish that I had still, and this is based on after I was married, before I had kids, there was this short period of time where I got into a couple of video games. One of them was a basketball game, one of them was a football game, and one of them was a wrestling game, and all of them I liked because I could customize my characters. And so the only things I kind of wish for on my mobile phone, because that's where I play most of my games, is some of those. I would like to have a wrestling game where I could customize my own wrestler, like I did back in the day in WrestleMania 2000 on the N64. That's what I want. I want that on my phone.
Should see if they have it on the Wii U when we're done. Maybe you can actually get that game.
Well, then I'd have to get the Wii U. I only have the Wii.
Well, the price is probably going to come down for the Christmas holiday, or maybe after Christmas.
Maybe.
All right, so we need to do our bit so the Patriots don't lose this fucking week.
Okay, yeah. So this is a really important thing. We gotta apologize to Patriots Nation here because the 2 weeks. Well, there have been other weeks where we kind of didn't do the bit,
but we did like brush on it.
Yeah, and they would barely pull it out. But the last 2 weeks we have not done the bit. And the Patriots have lost their first two games of the season back to back, absolutely in heinous fashion. I mean, there's been a lot of.
The trick is they're very hurt. Yeah, they're a very hurt team. They have Tom Brady, and then he has one receiver that's reliable. Yeah. LaFell's a piece of shit.
Yes,
and I don't know. Sick of LaFell. We watched like the first half of it. Like we went to Lanes and Games, and I played the new Game of Thrones pinball. But we watched the first half of the game. Like, we had some dinner up at the bar, and then we went down. We're like, whatever. I mean, they're winning. We came back up after we finished playing, and we're like, oh fuck, we're losing.
Yeah, and then I couldn't take it anymore. I think we recorded, and then it was on. When I was on the way home, and so I listened a little bit or something, and then I got home, and that's when it took a turn for the worse. I went upstairs, and then all of a sudden, like, it turned around like they might actually pull it out, and I had the score up on the computer, and I had Twitter up because I didn't want to try to commandeer one of the TVs. But yeah, and then they lost, and it was just like, wow, that's 2 in a row, and now they flexed the game that was supposed to be tomorrow. We're recording this on Saturday. They flexed the game that's supposed to be tomorrow at 1 o'clock to the 8:30 slot, which makes it makes even more sense now because now it's like, I don't know what that game means for the playoff standings, but I don't think the Patriots can afford to lose it if they still.
I mean, they can lose, and I think they'll still have the top of our division.
Yeah, but the Jets are coming up there. I don't know what their record is, but I think they're within. It's maybe not realistic, but they're within reaching distance of the Pats, and so we need to do our bit.
So, okay, how did they cheat last week?
How are they going to cheat this week?
Okay, how they're going to cheat this week is they're going to actually take maybe risks.
Who are they playing?
I don't know.
Hey Siri, who are the Patriots playing this week?
Well, Chris, I don't know.
The Patriots play the Texans tomorrow at 8:30 p.m.
I don't think the Texans are great, but
the
then
Texans are 6-6. They're 4-2 at home, and the Patriots are 10-2. They're 4-1 away. So they're down in Houston playing the Texans.
But the thing is, like, we were playing at home against
Right.
the Eagles, and we still fucking lost.
We still fucking lost. Yeah. I don't know. Like it's hard to say. How are they going to cheat? Well, they're going to go to Texas.
They're gonna go to Texas, and
They're not going to eat barbecue.
yeah, they're not. I don't know. That's
I
not
don't know.
cheating.
That doesn't make sense.
I think one of the things that we said before is that they're not walking there. I think was they actually took they're taking a plane there.
It is in the bylaws. It's a little known bylaw. It's in like
That the
Section
Patriots
34.
being the only team that have to actually walk.
The
to their,
Patriots are supposed to walk.
yeah. I think they could possibly do that, but they might be exhausted.
They could. I mean, there are some of the defensive linemen who could probably use a good walk.
because they're a little chunky.
A little chunky. No, actually, we don't want. You know what? That's a good point. We do not want them to. Defensive linemen, offensive linemen do not walk anywhere. Just continue to gain weight and just be a wall.
Yeah, be a wall in front of Brady so he can throw the fucking ball.
The O linemen need to be a wall in front
Not
of
at
Brady.
LaFell because he's a piece of shit.
And the D linemen, you need to be a wall so that no runner can get past them. I mean, I miss fucking Vince Wilfork. I'm just gonna say, like, I missed. I forget his name now. There was a guy who was there the couple years right before Vince.
Are you trying to get
Wilfork.
to 2 hours?
I am trying to get to 2 hours. Yeah. No.
You
Anyway,
split this in 2 times, so we can take next week off.
anyway, so the Patriots this week are gonna cheat they cheated by not walking,
They're just gonna. I think they're gonna do some old fashioned cheating and like stealing signs.
stealing signs. Okay.
Yeah, stealing signs, videotaping the old team.
Yeah. All right. You heard it here
Put
first.
it in the books. We're gonna fucking cheat the old fashioned way.
The only other thing we had on the list to talk about today was Star Wars, and we kind of talked about how we're cautiously optimistic.
We don't need to fucking talk about.
We
Star
don't need
Wars.
to talk about it, but here's.
Next week we can talk about it a little bit.
But we can't. See, this is what I wanted to talk about.
What day is the 18th?
So the 18th is Friday, right?
Let's record on Friday.
See, but I'm going in the middle of the day on Friday.
Fuck, never mind then.
All right,
Well-
so here's the only thing that I think we need to work out before we leave this week.
Because I'm not going to see it until the 22nd because I didn't.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you're not going to see it. So we need to work out some kind of a signal that so I can't spoil anything.
No,
I can't spoil anything. I can't even say what I thought.
no. I want to go in this naked,
All right. So naked.
not nude, like for real.
I think you might get kicked out of the theater.
Yeah, we're going to Jordan's. We're going to the fucking IMAX
You
store.
go into Jordan's. You're going naked.
No, we're gonna get some Fuddruckers. We're gonna get fucking hamburgers, and then we're gonna go to see it in the IMAX.
You're gonna get fucking hamburgered.
Yes, hamburger. You can contact us if you want to send us an email at hot@clarkwoods.com. I
Yes.
didn't do it the other way like I normally do.
And you can send us a tweet. I am at ECC1977.
And I am at Tuesday is Loser. So maybe I'll try to explain it in a different way. Tuesday, the word is, the word loser, all wrapped in one little bow as one word.
All wrapped in
Tuesday
one
is
little bow.
Loser. Yeah. So at Tuesday is Loser is my name.
It's like one Christmas present, like 3 Christmas presents in one.
Yeah.
Or Hanukkah.
There's no apostrophe. It's not an apostrophe S.
If you put
It's
an apostrophe
Tuesday.
in there, I don't think you understand how Twitter works.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
So there's no apostrophe. It's not Tuesday's Loser. It's Tuesday is
It's not
Loser.
Wednesday's child.
Wednesday is child. Wednesday actually is penis.
There was some way we were going to end this week, and I don't remember what the hell it was.
It's probably you being queer or something.
Might be.
Is that offensive?